I guess we should go ahead and get started. Let me do a quick welcome. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We're the South Carolina Finance Forum. I'm Rhonda Fulmer from SE Economics, and your presenter tonight is Mike. Mike, you go by Mike, right? Castrilli?
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm going to turn it over to you, and if you'll turn it back over to me 5 minutes before the hour is up, or the 45 minutes is up, then I'll close with a few comments.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so glad to see all of you. I know it's 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night. It's great to be with you. I'm excited to talk a little bit about WISE, and hopefully we'll have some opportunity to get to know one another as a participating school in our program. I'll do just a brief introduction. I'm going to use PowerPoint slides. You'll see just some logistics. There is a chat, obviously, and Cassidy's going to be monitoring it, and I'll pause for questions. If I miss a question, sometimes the chat goes down and I miss it, I'll pause and go back, and Cassie, you're welcome to jump in when I do that. If there are any questions. I think with the virtual environment, it's really as best possible to make it as interactive as possible. And the only way to do that really is through kind of the Q&A and so forth. So I'll try my best to make this as interactive as possible with you. And I encourage you to ask questions and to make this the most helpful. My name is Mike Castrilli. I'm the Director of Financial Literacy at WISE. And it's really great to be here in South Carolina. I'm not in South Carolina, I'm in New York City, but be with you in South Carolina. And I was with, I also offered a webinar in August, which seems like months, it just seems like ages ago. So it's a real pleasure. I'm going to share my screen and get started. All right, so what I thought I would do is let me just begin by talking a little bit about WISE. So if you're not familiar with who we are, I can just give you a kind of a brief overview of who we are as an organization. And then we're going to jump into the WISE Financial Literacy Certification Program for high school students. And so I'll talk a little bit about who we are. I want to thank South Carolina Economics for the opportunity to be here. Jim, Rhonda, Cassidy, Chandler, I'm very honored to be able to be with you. And we've had a really great partnership with South Carolina Economics. So it's really terrific. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But WISE is an educational nonprofit. We're based in New York City. We're a small nonprofit. And really, I think one thing I really like about working at WISE is at the heart of what we do is financial literacy and enhancing college, workplace, and readiness. I was a high school teacher myself. I taught economics here in upstate New York, in New York State. So one of the things that it's important to me as a teacher, as a fellow teacher, I'm not teaching in high school now, but I do understand some of the complexities and some of the things you'll be thinking about. So I'll hopefully bring some of that experience to this program as well to say, what works for me and what worked for me, and hopefully be able to answer any of your questions. But WISE, two components that I want to bring up just to tell you a little bit about us. Excuse me, get my PowerPoint going. The Financial Literacy Certification Program for high school students. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. We also have a program called MoneyWise, which is a program for domestic violence survivors, in which domestic violence survivors take a 12-week program in financial literacy. And the 12-week program at the end, they can receive our certification in personal finance. It's really an amazing program. As you can imagine, one of the major causes of abuse is financial abuse. And so we are at about 12 locations across the country right now where we offer this financial literacy program. That's just one piece. Tonight, we're going to focus in on the high school program, but we also offer a personal finance certification for educators. And that actually, we've had a really, I'd say, cool partnership with South Carolina Economics. This partnership, if you've heard about it, it's providing incentives to K through 12 teachers who are teaching financial literacy. And I'm going to put a link to the website, but it's been a really awesome partnership because the South Carolina offers professional development and we offer our certification test. And it's really been lovely because I've gotten to know a bunch of South Carolina educators. And I also think it's good because you get a sense of what's in our program and who we are and the depth of what we're creating when it comes to financial literacy. The Enhancing College and Workplace Readiness, I wanted just to mention our 3 major programs, one of which is called Quality of Life Innovations. This is a high school program for students to look at a community issue, to research that community issue, and then to have a competition of students across the country to be awarded a scholarship for the best ideas. And it can be any community idea as long as the heart of it is research. So it's quality of life innovations. We also have a program called the WISE Institute. The WISE Institute is a program that offers professionals in the finance field and others into high schools for the students to learn from professionals. You can think of maybe as a speakers bureau in many ways, where they actually teach the kids professional development, careers in finance, kind of come alive for the kids what it's like to work in the workplace and to mentor them. And then we have our Euro Challenge for economics, which is really cool. Can be any student in 9th or 10th grade can participate. And the Euro Challenge is a program we work with the European delegation, excuse me, and the European delegation. And what the students do is they join in teams and they study a Eurozone issue. And then they have a high school competition over the issue that they're discussing. So each student class, 5 or 6 students present they represent, let's say, Italy, and they use the euro as a means to analyze all the economic issues, and then they compete with other schools across the country. And then winners come here to New York for finals, and then the students that win actually go to Washington to present in front of the embassy. So really great program. I know I just gave kind of a really 1-2 minute overview on that. But if any of those are interesting to you, feel free to email me and I can send you additional information. Again, the Euro Challenge is for 9th and 10th graders. Quality of life can be any high school student. And the WISE Institute is something where we work with you to determine what would be the best fit. But what we're talking about most importantly tonight is our personal finance program for high school students, our financial literacy certification program. So here's what I wanted to do. I'll walk through the program. I'll talk a little bit about what it is, what's involved, and then we'll look at kind of the details of it to see if this is something you'd be interested in implementing in your school. And then I'll show you some sample questions and outcomes. Okay, so during our time today, if there's questions you have for those that just joined, again, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll try to answer as many questions as possible. And I'll try to save some time at the end as well to stick around for any questions that you may have. All right, so what is the Financial Literacy Certification Program? So let me explain it this way. Teachers across the country teach a unit or semester-long course in personal finance. Okay, so what we do is we support teachers in that by supporting you with instructional materials and resources for the goal of certifying as many students as Certified Financially Literate, our kind of key credential that we offer your students after the success of your course. Students who pass receive this national standardized test recognition. We offer a national standardized test, and the passing score, the students receive Certified Financially Literate, or the CFL. We deliver the program nationally, as I'll show in a few moments, and it's approved by Department of Education across the country. So basically, teachers have a program in personal finance. They can use our program as a way to measure student outcomes as it relates to behaviors, as well as knowledge. So as we'll walk through the program, I'll kind of teach you how it works. But I think one of the things that I always like to start off by saying is the program works in a variety of instructional approaches. Meaning, one of the best things we did years ago was we decided we didn't want to compete with, reinvent the wheel, so to speak, of content for example, lesson plans and the wonderful stuff that you'll hear about in other sessions here in South Carolina. We wanted to be the key, the hallmark of what we do is to be able to assess student behavior and their knowledge. And so I see us as collaborators with the variety of content that you're probably already delivering in the classroom, whether, for example, Next Gen Finance, a great program. That's just one of the many that you could pick, but the program fits in whatever curriculum that you're using right now. We don't require you to do anything in terms of saying, you have to use WISE's lesson plans or anything. We don't have that. We give you the teacher's guide to be able to look at what is going to be covered on the certification. But we really believe it's a flexible program in that you can use this as a real nice complement to what you're using in the classroom. And of course, if you do need resources, as you'll see, we have those as well. I like to say that up front so people don't think that if you participate with WISE, it's at the exclusion of something else. No, in fact, we'd rather have as much collaboration and to give you the resources, the wide variety of content providers, and not reinvent the wheel for you. They're amazing. And again, when WISE was started in 2003, our CEO made that determination that the best effort we can do is provide personal financial certification for schools across the country, and to do that in collaboration with others. So we're actually in 49 states. The one state there that it looked like we didn't have that I just got is South Dakota, which is terrific. The one state we're not in is Nevada, and I want to make this map completely 50 states. So if you know anyone in Nevada, please send me an email and I'll be happy to talk to them. No, but I wanted to show you this because of the scope of the program, meaning that our program will fit within the variety of state requirements across the country. We follow the national standards, for example, national jumpstart standards. We follow a number of state standards aligned very, very well, including South Carolina, to our curriculum. And the beauty of that is that it's a flexible program in that you'll find that with the certification test, it's aligned to the standards in which you're teaching. And so one of the thing I wanted to mention is in different states, we have a variety of experiences with WISE. For example, in Virginia, students are required to take our certification test in order to graduate high school. Some other states, it's part of the end of pathway in terms of whether it's a cluster of finance or business. So the end of pathway exam, in some states, it's a final exam as part of comprehensive personal financial literacy program. So there's a variety of ways in which we fit. Certainly, as you look at your personal finance component of your course, I encourage you, if you participate with us, you'll have the access to obviously our certification test as well as our optional pretest in order for you to assess. And I think you'll find that it's very much in line with what you're teaching. So what are the program features? So let's talk about each of these in turn so you get a sense of what it is that we offer you as part of participating schools in our program in terms of professional development, our instructional resources, the assessment itself. As a teacher, as I told you, I want to know what is it that you guys what is WISE looking at here, and then our awards and recognition, which are I think important, kind of fun, and something that I think you'll enjoy. As I think teachers, as a teacher and as teachers, recognition is something that sometimes we don't get it enough sometimes, right? So I hope that at WISE we do that. So I'm excited to show you some of those programs as well. So professional development, we offer monthly webinars with a variety of topics. Basically, I like to think of it as two ways. One being we have topics that are for teachers teaching personal finance. So maybe deep dive into a specific topic. But we also have speakers for our own professional development and our own life, personal finance. So it's a variety of speakers. I like to think they're pretty good. You can you can log into the webinars, much like the South Carolina Economics does. And I think that what you'll find is that there's some new resources, new ideas, and obviously you can log in as much or as many as you want. We also have an annual conference called Money Power. It's actually is usually the first week in November on Election Day. And we have it here in New York City. It's a day of professional development. Obviously, Election Day is next week, so what's happening? But as you can imagine, like everywhere else here in New York City, we're not able to do an in-person conference. So we recognize that there's a lot of virtual conferences out there. So we're going to do a series of very, I think it should be innovative series, webinar series in January, where in lieu of our Money Power conference, we'll do these webinars, brief, but give people the chance to log in to those and to get some professional development. But hopefully next year, our annual conference, we'll do, we do it in terms of a one-day event that people can come to and do a variety of professional development. And then our events, I mentioned, you know, we work with a number of different partners across the country in delivering professional development. And then what we do is we collaborate with them in terms of their professional development, and sometimes we'll offer our certification in personal finance for educators, our CPF, much like we're doing with South Carolina Economics, working with you all in the South Carolina Financial Literacy Master Teacher Program. So working with other partners to deliver events and deliver our program. As I mentioned, we have our high school certification, and then as South Carolina Economics in the Master Teacher Program, we also have our certification in personal finance for educators. Our instructional resources. So what happens? You participate, you sign and register with us. You receive the professional development. You also receive the teacher's guide, which is aligned again to national standards, certainly in personal finance. And I think you'll find that this outline of topics gives you a comprehensive list of what is included on the standardized assessment, what's included on the test, and ensuring that each of those areas are covered in preparation for the certification test. There may be an area or a topic or something that you don't cover, let's say. And what we do offer is a resources directory, which ties to our curriculum outline that gives a variety of resources, like gamification, lesson plans. I mentioned we're not looking to reinvent the wheel, so we provide as many, resources from the Federal Reserve, all the different resources that we have found that are available for you to be able to access in order to ensure that you meet the different items in the curriculum outline. And then moneypower.org, which is our practice test database website. And we got some exciting things happening with that in the next 3 to 6 months. But as students prepare for the certification test, we have practice test questions, both short and long, for the students to prepare. And like I said, there's some really exciting things happening with our practice test database in the next few months that I'll be excited to tell you a little bit more about as soon as they get firmed up. But in this regard, so you have the teacher's guide, the resources directory, and Money Power. One question you may have out there is, okay, so like, what's the preparation needed for the students to do well on the certification test? And typically what we'll say there is about 35 to 40 hours of instruction in personal finance in order for students to be the most successful. I say that so it gives you kind of a benchmark on whether we don't mandate that you follow the curriculum in the sense of, budgeting comes before crediting, credit becomes before investing. We just give you the high level topics, which I'll show you in a moment, then you cover based on the program that you're doing in your class. So basically what you'll do is that, as you look at your instructional mode, whether you do 6 weeks or you do a year-long course, it's flexible in that regard. And here in New York City, for example, teachers will teach a full year course, but many of the states that we're in, it'll be a semester, and in some cases less, a trimester, or something different. So the arrangement depends on what you're doing, and I'm happy to talk to each of you or any of you about how that would look. Okay, feel free to put any questions, or if you don't mind, I'm gonna take a quick drink. Okay, so we have the certification test, which is the heart of the program, but I haven't talked a little bit about our optional pre-test. The pre-test is something you can offer pre-instruction, basically. So first day of personal finance class, you can offer the pre-test to get a real benchmark on where the students are as it relates to the main topics of the course of personal finance. What's nice about it is it's really a mimic of the certification test. So it'll give you a sense of, give the students a sense of what is coming with this final exam, with this certification test for your class. It's optional too. So if you sign up for our certification test, you don't have to do this. I have found teachers love to do it because it's a really nice way to benchmark student data. And you can see that it's 50 multiple choice questions. We offer it in the fall, the spring, and actually even in the summer. So there's very flexible windows depending on when you start your class. Some teachers start in August or even earlier. Some start personal finance class in January. I mean, it depends on your class, but the windows are flexible for you to offer the test. It's paper-based or online, although I'd encourage, no matter what right now, is to do online. It's really, the online system that we use is really amazing. I say amazing because, again, as a teacher, it's easy to use. Let's put it that way. And there's multiple testing dates, as I mentioned. But the other piece of this that I wanted to make sure I bring up early on tonight before people log out and say, well, you know, how do you proctor a test in the age of COVID-19 where some are learning remotely or hybrid, or, you know, there's so many different models out there right now, or hopefully as the winter hits, we don't have any other changes with COVID-19, but we do have a virtual proctoring solution as well for the pre-test and the certification test, where students can take the test with you as a proctor, with the teacher, as a proctor, using the video classroom technology. So the students can now also do that virtually. So in case you're wondering, like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to do a proctor test until next year, I got too many students learning remotely. We've tested this across in the spring and in the summer, and teachers have offered both this pre-test and the certification test. So I mentioned the 50 multiple choice, and the end, after the student's complete, you'll see a score report on the major areas of financial management, insurance, and investing. I'll show you the score report in a moment. And what you'll have is a benchmark where at the end of the course, when the students take the certification test, they'll also get a score report. And in that score report, you'll be able to see, you can match up, for example, what did the student get in insurance and investing pre-course? What did the student get after course? And you can get a nice sense of growth areas. As well, I mean, when you're looking at the pre-test results, there may be an area that students are especially weak that you're like, okay, I need to make sure I focus in on this. Or there may be something where students are super strong too, okay? So the pre-test. Now, the actual certification test, let me just take a moment and walk through this a little bit and specifically so you can get a sense of what does it mean to be, what are the nuts and bolts of this, so you can get a real sense of it before you say, I'm interested in bringing this to my school. So I mentioned this certification test, just like the pre-test, you can get it in paper or online form. Again, I really recommend the online form because it's really useful. It's available in PCs, Macs, Chromebooks, and iPads. So you can use it across different technology and devices. The test begins with a survey, and the survey is a look at behavioral questions for the students. So for example, did you get a checking account? Did you have a checking? Do you save after your course? Do you have financial goals? So it's a survey that you can use to look at behavioral changes. And then the certification test, the nationally recognized standardized certification test, is going to be used to measure the student's knowledge. Again, it's 50 multiple choice questions, and it's a time test. It's 50 minutes for the certification test. We also offer multiple forms of the test. And what I mean there is that the test is newly developed every semester. So it is not a static test. This is something we have a commission that works on, it works intensely on every year, twice to put out 3 new forms of the test every semester. And when I say 3 new forms, is the test comes in these 3 forms. So I'm sitting next to Sally. We're taking the test on our PCs. Sally may be getting test B while Michael's getting test A. What's nice about this is obviously there's anchor questions. It's psychometrically sound. But if a student fails on the first attempt, they also have 2 additional attempts after mediation by you to be able to pass the certification test. So it's not like the same test is used for the first attempt, the student fails, unfortunately, and they have to retake it and they take the same test. It's one of the 3 forms and they're both at the same level. They're all at the same level. So it's a nice feature, and I think it's really cool, that this test is not something you're going to see that's, once and done, and it's been around for 5 years. So it's also, laws change and things like that. So I think you'll find, and I'm happy to have you talk. If you're in our program, I can't see all the names right this minute. If you're in our program, you're welcome to speak to that or not speak to that, what have you. But if you want to talk to anybody about it, I'd be happy to give you additional information or maybe introduce you to another teacher. We do have schools in South Carolina using the program, and we're really excited to have that. Obviously, it's great to be there. Convenient testing windows. So basically, you can use the certification test at your convenience for what your course is, whether that's the fall, the spring, or the summer. So we open up the test windows. They could, let's say from September to November could be a pre-test window. We might open the test window from like October 15th through January 30th, and then another testing window in January. So the testing windows are very convenient. There's minimal teacher setup, quite frankly. And this is what I was saying as a teacher. I mean, if a student has a computer, if you're doing the online or an iPad or Chromebook, all the student has to do is, you don't even have to pre-populate the data. The student will enter, we call it a self-registration. So the student will enter the data, then that data will come into your system as the proctor, as the teacher. So it's very minimal. Now, we do have the option that if you wanted to put all the student data in, we have a feature, an import feature, that you can easily do that as well. But a lot of teachers, when we were creating the program, told us, look, I don't want to have all this data that I have to enter in order to get the students to take the certification test. So as Michael registers for the test, I'm populated in, Rhonda was my teacher, I'm populated into Rhonda's class, and then you have that student record. The test is taken on a secure browser, which locks out all apps. For example, the students can't Google an answer while they're sitting there on the computer. So it's a secure browser, and it has IEP accommodations, a full range of IEP accommodations. So that's, extra time, text to speech. So we support that completely. We also, in terms of the actual certification, we also have the test in Spanish, and we also have a test for blind students as well in Braille. So there's a number of different IEP accommodations that are available, as well as translated versions of the test that I wanted to make you aware of. The LMS integration we've added. So if you're a school district that has an LMS where you'd like to integrate into our system, very easy to do, and we have that availability. Some districts want to do that, others don't. It's really up to you. We do have the integration capability with basically, I mean, I can't think of a LMS we don't integrate with. So if that's something that's interesting, you're a bigger district and you want to do that, that's an option as well. On this note of data, I wanted to mention this. I think it's important, especially in this day and age. The data is yours. Okay, WISE doesn't use your data for any, we don't do research on your state. We don't do research on your high school. The data is yours. There may be a consolidated look at something, but never, we don't own your data. It's your data, your school's data, or your district. We will not provide your student data to anybody. It's all up to you on how you will manage that. We're FERPA compliant. We take data privacy very seriously. So I just wanted to mention that again, something that's very concerning to a lot of people. this is yours. If you decide to join the program and you have your students take the certification test, it's up to you what you do with the data. We'll provide it for you, obviously. I just wanted to mention that, so you didn't think that there's any, any kind of, I don't know, maybe a state-by-state look, or where we go in and say what school's doing better than others. Nothing like that. It's yours. You own it. Student grouping by classes. So I have a class, period 1, period 2. You can look at across the board, and there's instantaneous grading and results. As I mentioned, it's online, so you'll be able to access the student score report as soon as the student completes taking the test. And that's all part of this program, right? And then the comprehensive score report, as well as the student passes, you have access to the certification document. You can create that as well. We have that all part of the system. So it's all there for you. You don't have to pay extra. You don't have to call us. You have it. It's part of the program. And then, as I mentioned, you have 3 options for students to first attempt. They can take it if they fail, or they can take it a 3rd time. And we offer that in the fall, the spring, and in the summer. So students really have plenty of opportunity to be able to pass the certification test. And because it's every semester change, it's got some integrity to it as well. So students pass, they receive the Certified Financially Literate certification, as well as are part of our, and part of our program. Hopefully we'll become scholars. You may be asking, okay, so like, why do this? Well, in the sense of as an education, in terms of understanding where students are in terms of knowledge and how they compare across these solid academic rigorous standards, that's one. But if you're trying to tell your students what is the purpose, a couple of things. One would be college applications, to where WISE is recognized, the Certified Financially Literate credential, by colleges as a credential that is upstanding. For resumes, for work, where students will use the credential to apply for jobs in business. I look here in New York City, the number of businesses that support our program, all the major banks and so forth, that recognize that the Certified Financially Literate credential is something of value to the students. And then the third piece, and I'm not sure in South Carolina, but I know in Michigan, where the Certified Financially Literate credential is something a college will use to opt a student out of a personal finance requirement. For example, I think it's Ferris State University. So there's some different pieces, benefits to students, to talk to them about it in terms of what they can use their certification for. And again, based on this national standardized test, can show across the country how these students are comparing in terms of understanding these national standards in South Carolina as well. Okay, so you're probably wondering, we're teachers, what are the topics? I just put them up here. I've also put in the chat a FinLit overview. Hopefully you see that there. You can just download that. I'll put it up again right before I conclude and turn it over to Rhonda. When I do that, I will put another one in. So if you came in late, I'll put it in again. But you can see in there are different topics. And as you look at this, I'm sure you're seeing, money, budget planning, cost of money, banking, credit, that you teach these components. If there is something in there you don't teach, or you say, look, we don't cover that, that's where you can use the resources directory to find resources tied to any of these topics. And again, it's in that directory there, and I'll put that PDF in again, as well as I can send it. I'll send it to everyone that attended tonight. You can see the percentage of questions for each: money management, personal financial planning, banks and banking, 20 to 25%, credits about 15 to 20%, and insurance and investing is about 20 to 25% of the test. And the number of test questions, you can see that there. I think that, like I said, the questions are, I think they're extremely rigorously vetted. And again, we take the certification test, obviously the creation of it, very seriously, in terms of, I think you'll find it to be of high integrity in terms of helping you to see the students' growth in knowledge. All right, I think it's time for America's favorite game show. I'm financially lit. Are you? All right, one of the like younger guys in the office told me, he's like, he said, this is so cheesy, and I loved it. So, okay, bear with me for a couple moments. I thought it'd be fun because you may be wondering, okay, what are the questions? Can you give us some sample questions? So I thought it would be fun. Let's play the game. I'm financially lit. Are you? If we were in person, I'd have awards and stuff, but let's just take a moment. I'll read you the question. These are 3 sample questions that so you can get a sense of easy, medium-ish, and hard, just as quick examples of what it looks like. And of course, for those that remember the set of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I couldn't resist. So this is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire set. And I heard it's coming back, by the way. It was Regis Philbin, who recently died, and then it was Meredith Vieira. And I heard this is coming back. All right, not here nor there. Here's the question. And you can put your answer in the chat. There's no judgment. If you get it correct, awesome. If you don't, no problem. But you can put your answer in the chat. One good way to build an investment portfolio is to A, use interest and investment dividends to cover everyday expenses. B, increase money for budgeting and fixed expenses. C, establish an emergency fund. Or D, make monthly deposits to an investment account. Please cast your votes. All right. That's correct. D, make monthly deposits to an investment account. Okay, good. I know, simple question for us, but this just give you a sense of it. Thank you. Yes, I love it. Thank you. The best way to reduce the cost of car insurance on a 10-year-old car is to A, drop the car's collision. B, decrease the personal injury deductible. C, have the car serviced on a regular basis. Or D, change the premium payments from twice a year to monthly. Okay, go ahead and cast your votes, America. My family would die if they heard me. They'd be like, Mike, you are so cheesy, but that's okay. All right, it's great. Exactly. A, drop the car's collision coverage. Students, insurance is one of those topics that students, they struggle with a little bit. And I know it's something, this is a life question, I think, that adults sometimes are like, have a struggle with. So this is just another example. All right, let's do our last and final. Let's take a look at this one. After owning a $50,000 whole life insurance policy for 10 years, a person decides to cancel the policy. How much is this person entitled to receive? A, the accumulated savings or cash value of the policy. B, the face value of the policy. C, 10 years of premiums paid on the policy, less a fee for canceling. Or D, 10% of the 50,000 or 5,000. Okay, cast your answers. Erica, good. Okay, we got a variety of answers. Good. Good. Anyone else? The answer is actually A, the accumulated savings or cash value of the policy. Okay, so obviously as we look through these, again, this is one of those more it's a challenging question, but it's a good one. And you can see, I was in Georgia I say in Georgia, I was here in New York, and same exact answers here. But yeah, it's the accumulated savings or cash value of the policy. Okay, so you can get a sense of exactly. Someone said, I want the payback from C. Exactly. So you can see the kind of types of questions that we have. These are just 3. I can send you additional ones. Let's say tomorrow morning you wake up and you say, I really want to just see a couple more. I do have a 1-pager I can send you with additional questions, or if you want to share it with your principal or your chair or something like that. But I just want to, so are you financially lit? I think so. South Carolina is financially lit. Okay, very good. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay, so let's take a look at the score reports. It's on the left-hand side of the screen. Just checking my time. Good. Score report on the left-hand side, you can see that we give the student the name, did they pass? And at the bottom, you see the sub-score definitions. A, money management. B, banks and banking. C, credit. And D, insurance and investing. And you get a student percentage correct, as well as the school average, okay? And so basically, you can see there that you'll be able to measure the students on those different areas. And with the optional pretest, they'll be able to show you, how well they've advanced. And I'm going to show you a couple examples where the outcomes have really improved. And then on the right-hand side, you can see that you have our certification. So, this certification is something that you can print. Some schools will even do an award ceremony, when they do it at the end of the year, and the students get the Certified Financially Literate credential, and they can use it, obviously a lifetime credential, certainly into college and career. So, all right, Stephanie, go Jimmy, go Elmo, exactly. My colleague had this in, and I said, I'm not including this in the PowerPoint. This was a couple years ago. And he said, people love it. So I don't know, I love it. I thought Elmo was the man. So anyway, it's kind of fun. So, but the students that pass will receive the certification, and you can see that the score report, which you'll have instantaneously as soon as the student has completed the test. I wanted to mention our recognition programs. We have a couple that we can talk about. One, the CFL, obviously the Certified Financially Literate credential. We have our Gold Star teachers. Okay, our Gold Star teachers are teachers where 93% of the class has passed the test. In terms of the Gold Star teachers, and that's 93%. Our Blue Star schools, and looking at schools that have passed across the different, done really well and high grades. And then our Financial Literacy Scholars is our program that is for students that receive a 96 or above. So a number of these. We also have our 100 best schools teaching personal finance. Now, I just realized I'm at my time. I'm so sorry. I thought I had a little longer. It's not I apologize. I thought it was 60 minutes. But Rhonda, can I just give 2 more minutes of, do I have time for just to show how to sign up for the program?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me just do that. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Let me just, I just had a couple more on outcomes, but let me just go through how to sign up, okay? This is something you're probably caring about, right? You probably said, why didn't you tell me this 10 minutes ago? Teacher's Guide's free. The resource directory, free. The practice test is free. The certificates are free. The professional development is free, which is great. So what's the catch? The test. In most states, we pay a nominal testing fee. However, good news, truly, in South Carolina, we have grant funding available for schools to participate in the program this year at no cost, which is awesome, right? And I say that, I'm going to put this in there, I think. I'm really excited about it. I know I did it in the last minute of the presentation, so right. But I wanted it. We're really excited about that. I'm going to just put the link in the chat, and I apologize that I ran out of time. But basically, you can click the link. It's very simple. It gives you the school name. It goes through and just says, your name and so forth. Once you sign up, we register you. And then we give you all of the teacher's guides, the difference, the teacher's guide, the research directory, all of these different components, and then you can participate in the program. So I'll pause there. I'm going to turn it back over to Rhonda, but I'll get all of your names and I will email you tomorrow this information with our registration link. And I hope you'll be able to join us. It's really terrific. And I'm so glad to be able to say it's no cost to you and there's no catch. I'm not this salesperson over here. Okay. I'm not going to charge you in 6 months. It's yours. So I hope you join us.
Mike, that is amazing. What a wrap.
Thank you. I know. Well, everybody, I had to save it to the end. I see all your faces and I thank you for the last few minutes.
I'm speechless. Well, hey, listen, thank you so much, Mike. You did a great job. And thank you, Cassidy. Where are you? I'm looking for your picture. And of course, most importantly, thank you, teachers. You're the ones who are delivering all of this to our students to help them make smart financial decisions. So in closing, I want to remind everyone that our website, www.sefinanceforum.org, is going to continue to be there for you all year. there are 5 things that I want you to make sure you look at quickly in the next day or two. Recorded sessions will be available on Friday. Please sign up for more sessions if you have the time. For tomorrow night, we have 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Now money. $50 incentive, of course, if you attend 2 or more live sessions, and Cassidy will tell you more about that in a second. Again, it's on the website, www.scfinanceforum.org.com.
If you fill out the evaluation.
If you fill out the evaluation. Apply also for a $500 classroom mini grant from Jumpstart. Look at Jumpstart's sponsor page, and you can learn all about it right there. And last but not least, earn $500 to $1,500 by becoming a financial literacy master teacher. Go back to the website, look at the videos, go all the way down to the bottom of the page. Treasurer Loftus has just sent us a wonderful video about the financial literacy master teacher program, which is his brainchild. He is behind this thing 100%. So thanks again for coming. And Cassidy?
Yeah, if y'all were able to join us for 2 or more sessions, and that continues into tomorrow, but if y'all were able to join us for 2 during the SC Virtual Finance Forum, you'll be eligible to receive a $50 incentive upon filling out the evaluation form. And that'll be emailed to everybody on Thursday morning. So just keep an eye out for that. And as always, your time and feedback are appreciated. So thank you. And thank you, Mike. And I hope you all have a good night.
I have a question.
And thank you, everybody, Rhonda and Jim and Cassidy and Chandler. Thank you.
All right.
I think somebody had a question.
Oh, yeah.
The master teacher, is that on the South Carolina Finance Forum page?
It is. If you go to the videos, they are 60-second videos, and go all the way down to the bottom where you see exhibitors. And there you'll see Jumpstart. There you'll see the treasurer's video. His program is called Future Scholar, but you'll see it says Financial Literacy Master Teacher right there.
Thank you.
We'll send you a link too.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Michael,
all so much.
It was good to hear a New York accent. I used to live in Rome.
All right. Well, I grew up in Syracuse. I'm a New Yorker, you know.
Oh, okay. I got my master's at Lemoyne.
Oh, love it. Love it. Good
Yeah.
old upstate, downstate, wherever you're all from. So thank you.
Another Yankee right here, born on Long Island, New York, but
Born on Long Island, New York, right here too.
Well, I
Wow.
love South Carolina. Okay. I truly do. You're probably like, oh, he's playing to us. No, I love South Carolina. Oh, Jim's here. Jim, have you been watching me again?
Yeah, a little bit out over here on the side.
You're probably sick of hearing me. No, good to
Oh,
see
it's
you.
great. Thank you
for
very
having
much.
us.
And
Thank you for having
that's a
us.
wonderful offer that y'all have made for all the
South
South
Carolina.
Carolinians. It's great.
Oh, thank you very much, Jim. And honestly, I say it, I know we don't have the whole crowd, but we really appreciate your partnership. Thank you very much. It's very blessed. Thank you.
bye everyone.
Thank
Any
you.
more
Bye-bye.
questions?
See y'all. Have a good night. Enjoy the
You do
conference
the
tomorrow.
same. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Glass
Thanks,
of wine
man.
waiting at home.
Yeah.
Out the door, you know.
Bye
Have a good
everyone.
night.
Bye, everybody. Good night. Thank you all.